At 2:17 a.m., with rain soaking cardboard boxes and a child asleep on his shoulder, a single father stood on a sidewalk staring at a locked door that would never open again. What happened next, on the darkest night of his life, would quietly change not only his future, but the meaning of home itself. Stay until the end, because the door that opened wasn't the one anyone expected. No one ever plans to lose their home in the middle of the night. It happens quietly, without ceremony, without mercy. The streetlight flickered as the eviction notice fluttered from the door and landed in a shallow puddle. The building manager didn't shout. He didn't need to. The silence said everything. The father tightened his grip on the small backpack slung over one shoulder. Inside were school notebooks, a half-broken toy car, and folded papers he couldn't bring himself to throw away. Medical bills, rejection letters, overdue rent notices. In his other arm, his child slept, unaware that the world they knew had just vanished. He had tried everything. Extra shifts at the warehouse, night deliveries, skipping meals so his child wouldn't notice the fridge growing emptier. But when illness took weeks of work away, the math stopped working. Rent didn't care about effort. Hunger didn't wait for explanations. As rain fell harder, he felt the weight of failure press into his chest. Not because he was cold, not because he was tired, but because he had promised safety, and tonight he had broken that promise. They walked. No destination, just forward. The city looked different after midnight. Closed shops felt like locked mouths. Park benches looked smaller than he remembered. Every doorway felt like a reminder of something he no longer had. He stopped beneath an overhang, shielding his child from the rain. His phone battery blinked red. No family left to call. Friends had their own struggles. Pride had already been swallowed earlier that night. There was nothing left to lose except hope, and that was slipping fast. That's when he noticed the light. It came from a modest building he had passed hundreds of times without seeing. One window glowed warmly, steady and calm, untouched by the chaos of the storm. A simple sign hung near the door, half hidden by darkness. He couldn't read it clearly. He didn't know why his feet moved toward it. He only knew he couldn't keep walking forever. He stood there, soaked, shaking, unsure whether to knock or turn away. What if this door closed too? What if this was just another reminder that kindness had limits? His child stirred and whispered, barely awake, "Are we safe?" That question broke him. With trembling fingers, he knocked. The door opened slowly, not with suspicion, not with fear, just open. Warm air spilled out, carrying the scent of soup and clean fabric. Inside stood someone who didn't ask for explanations, didn't look at the rain-soaked clothes with judgment. The first words spoken were simple. "Come in, you're okay now." Those words landed heavier than any eviction notice ever could. Inside, the space was small but alive. A kettle whistled softly. A lamp cast a golden glow across worn furniture that had clearly held many stories. The father stood frozen, unsure if this was real. His child was gently guided to a couch, wrapped in a blanket, and offered something warm to drink. No forms, no lectures, no questions about how it all went wrong. That night, they slept indoors. The next morning didn't magically fix everything, but it changed something far more important. For the first time in months, the father woke up without panic gripping his chest. There was food on the table, clean water, a moment to breathe. Over the days that followed, doors kept opening. Not all at once, not easily, but steadily. Help came in pieces. Guidance, temporary shelter, work leads, childcare support. None of it felt like charity. It felt like community. The hardest part wasn't accepting help. It was learning to believe he deserved it. He worked again, slowly rebuilt. Nights were still long, but they were no longer spent walking aimlessly. His child laughed more, slept deeper, drew pictures of houses with big doors and bright windows. Months later, standing in a new place, small, imperfect, but theirs, the father paused at the doorway. He remembered the rain, the knock, the moment someone chose compassion instead of turning away. He taught his child something that day without saying it out loud. That losing everything doesn't mean you lose your worth. That help can come from strangers. And that sometimes, when the world closes every door at once, it only takes one to change everything. If you're watching this feeling lost, ashamed, or convinced you failed, remember this. Being broken is not the end of your story. Sometimes the darkest night exists only to guide you toward a door you never knew you were allowed to knock on. And sometimes, someone is already on the other side waiting to open it.